Who doesn't love Riley Gaines? Many of you probably don't know who she is. A lot of you probably do know who she is. Riley Gaines is a former swimmer. She was the first to speak out about Leah Thomas, a man competing in women's swimming and winning an NCAA title. She actually, I think, finished runner up. Uh, she's got a little beef with Megan Rapinoe. So Riley Gaines takes on Rapinoe over trans athletes. You aren't sexually attracted to men, likely will never have a daughter. Former college swimmer Riley Gaines hasn't backed down in her fight to save women's sports, and Tuesday she called out virtue signaling soccer star Megan Rapinoe's faux feminism, with a take on just how far the activist would go if her athletic career were threatened by men. Protestations from the left have run their natural course on men competing in women's sports, from denying a problem's existence to claiming it is rare, and then ultimately decrying any who dare stand in the way of quote unquote progress. For Rapinoe, advocacy for trans kids has landed especially hypocritical. And when the U.S. women's national team players signed on to a letter opposing Title IX protections for girls, Gaines unloaded. Now, keep in mind, Title IX is to protect women's athletics. And in fact, the Biden administration wants to add some addendums to Title IX to tie it to men competing in women's sports. That'll probably be another video way down the road. Prior to Monday's letter signed by a slew of professional athletes who want boys to be allowed into girls' spaces, thus removing their opportunity for, at the very least, fair competition, the openly gay soccer player had tweeted in March, "Today, politicians in D.C. are claiming to protect women's sports by pushing a trans and intersex sports ban. Call your congressional rep today and say women's sports need protection from unequal pay, sexual abuse, and lack of resources. Not from trans kids. Hashtag let kids play." Gaines quote tweeted that post and said, "It's worth noting that 1, you're done with your athletic career, and 2, because you aren't sexually attracted to men, it's unlikely you will ever have a daughter to defend. To me, this looks like a classic case of virtue signaling because you have nothing to personally lose." The former NCAA swimmer then added, "I can respect opinions that differ from my own, and everyone is entitled to think, speak independently. But I can't help but think Megan Rapinoe would generally shiv any male who tried to take her spot on the women's national team." Though it is unknown if Rapinoe has ever had to contend with the outcome of men being allowed to participate in women's competitions, Gaines has not only had to deal with the farce of the University of Pennsylvania's Leah Thomas being allowed to race against her, taking a spot from a woman, but she also had to deal with the male athlete exposing his genitalia in the women's locker room. We were not forewarned beforehand that we would be sharing a locker room with Leah," she said during an interview earlier this year. "We did not give our consent. They did not ask for our consent. But in this locker room, we turn around and there's a 6'4" biological man dropping his pants and watching us undress, and we were exposed to his male genitalia." Having set aside her own aspirations of a career in dentistry to fight to protect women's sports, Gaines has been confronted with violent protesters and hate from the activists that Rapinoe supports. After being assaulted and forced to barricade herself in a room to avoid a mob in San Francisco State University, the former swimmer had to add a legal fight to her to-do list. Yeah, she is basically suing San Francisco State University. Her stance has been well met by those outside of leftist circles, and she was lauded for her efforts on social media, as she should be. She is fighting for women's rights. And I think she deserves the backing from um every person, individual, man or woman, that thinks what's going on in this day and age when it comes to the trendy thing of being trans and allowing men and speaking out against men competing in women's sports because the guys can't cut it competing against men. She deserves all the backing that we can give her. So based on, you know, what's been happening here with the Dylan Mulvaney stuff and what's happening from even our own government backing this nonsense and this behavior, um Riley Gaines deserves all the kudos that we can give her and all the support we can give her. So wanted to bring this one out today. um If you like this video, if you like the content that I'm putting out, please like my videos, subscribe, share, comment, give me your opinion. We don't have to agree on everything. We can disagree. And we can disagree and have a discussion. It doesn't have to be a shouting match or calling each other names or cursing at each other. We could have a civil debate, a civil discourse. So I thank you for watching. I thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you folks on the next video.